you did the Thai memorial.
Yes, I did. And you know when you're sick and you're facing like, will I survive, will I not survive?
It's different if I'm painting alone or with my female friend than if I'm painting with a male friend.
I'm up on a ladder and this guy's walked around the corner and he's like...
My therapy was to go out to abandoned places.
Welcome to Writer's Pad. On this edition, I'd like to present two ladies from the WOM Collective who have been busy doing things for the past, well, several years, I believe. Hopefully they can enlighten us on that. So without further ado, I'd like to firstly introduce Elno.
Hello.
Welcome.
Welcome.
And next to Elno, Carleen.
How you doing, mate?
Welcome. So yeah, obviously want to find out a bit more about, you know, what you've been doing. So if you can just let us know about things that have happened. I know there was a jam recently which I was part of.
Our last jam was Trellick Tower, and you were there. It was amazing to bring men and women together in a you know, really historical space.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, it was my first time, I have to say, painting there. Yeah, we wanted just to support a little bit what was happening, what is happening right now, and you know, like in a lot of places in London, you know, communities getting affected with these new developers. I think the girls, a few girls from the collective, she and Akit, you know, they've been trying to move a lot of the community and to save the space, and through that I get more to know, okay, this is an issue that is happening, as is happening in a lot of places in London.
Just to jump in, for anyone who's not aware, Trellick at the moment is well, there's a real threat that it's going to actually be taken away by developers, greedy developers. These ladies are part of, you are sort of part of the campaign to keep it live.
No,
is that
not
right,
really. Not really. We kind of got involved. It wasn't a deliberate thing, even though I was aware of it, and you know, I followed the page and stuff. But we wanted to put on a jam to have men paint with women. Yeah. So you know, what we've been doing a lot of is putting things together for women. But people think that we're only for women, and you know, we are to a degree. But at the same time, it's like, you know, we want to paint. We paint with guys all the time, so it made sense to put on a jam. And then with what's been going on at Trellick, it just made sense to have it there because we wanted to involve quite a few writers. Mm-hmm. So, you know, the space is writer heavy, isn't it? Yeah. So, you know, it made sense for the collaborations.
Historically, that's like, not only you've got the architectural sort of significance of Trellick Tower, the tower itself, but also, you know, Trellick as a site for graffiti has got so much history. It's like so rich in terms of one of the original kind of spots that we all used to paint. Well, not me, but the other guys. So that for me was quite nice, the way that it happened there.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's a great space to paint as well.
It's amazing.
I've painted there a number of times. You know, unfortunately for the Grenfell. I think you was at one of the Grenfells. Yeah. So I painted twice there for Grenfell, and when I was practicing, when you're looking for like where can I go legally, because because I'm a grown woman and I can't be really running, so you want to go and find legal spots to go and paint. You know? So Trellick was number one on my list while I was practicing.
How long has the collective been around as a sort of a collective?
Yeah.
Like how long have you been organised?
2 years is where we want to be now, actually,
Coming
this
up.
month, in a few weeks.
Okay.
So
we're still young.
Yeah, we're still, you know, evolving, and the collective didn't actually start with the idea to be a collective. So everything started in a jam 2 years ago that I kind of put together, and I just put a group together in WhatsApp with some of my female friends, and they start to say, this my friend can come, and
so it's like a natural sort of unification in a sense.
This was in Brick Lane.
It was in Brick Lane, in Allen Gardens, when Nomadic Gardens was still, I think it was the last year actually of Nomadic Gardens. So it was Allen Gardens, so that was got through Nomadic Gardens, start to go, you know, the permission, you know, to get to paint on that walls, and you know, it was an amazing day. And so from there, you know, the group was already created in WhatsApp, and I just thought, okay, everyone wanted to do another one, you know, and I just thought some of these girls, they also produce amazing artwork, you know, in canvas, illustration. And why don't we put a show, you know, and a jam, something like I thought in something small, actually, in the beginning, to be honest. Like maybe 5, 6 artists, you know. But from there, I sit down with Raquel, with Lourdes, with you. We just sit down and have a little meeting and put the ideas together. And Carleen have a contact of a creative space in Camberwell.
Is there like a core unit that sort of holds things together, like yourselves? And
Yeah, it was like everything put in place a little bit, no?
Yeah.
And but really organically, without really, we don't know what we really going
We didn't
with
know what
this.
we was doing. We was just making it up as we go along. The idea, which came from Elno, was to have an exhibition and a jam.
right.
But the space that I had access to was like an old warehouse space.
Okay.
So it wasn't like a shop front that while we have this running for the week,
Yep.
people couldn't just walk in. We would have to literally be there physically on
Yeah.
site. So then, we thought that in order to do that, it was best to have like workshops running throughout the week that would bring
idea.
people. Yeah. But COVID hit.
Perfect timing.
Perfect timing.
Perfect
We
timing.
weren't actually not aware at all of what was going on in the world because
We had no idea. We had no. I wasn't watching. I wasn't listening to nothing, so I didn't know about.
And who'd
Corona,
be
nothing.
expecting that, you know?
Yeah,
it
we
was-
were
yeah.
preparing the show. We get involved. The girls, we explained the idea to them, and they the idea was like, okay, we have this space, so let's do something together. Okay, we will. Obviously, we took a lot of time to prepare the space because it was awful.
We had 2 days. We had the opening, and then the Saturday. Oh, we had a Sunday as well, and then it was everything's got to close up. It's over.
You've done other sort of organised jams as well, have you not? Did you do Stockwell?
That first event that we are talking about was for Women's International Day and was called WOM Inspire.
Yes.
So we wanted to see from different perspective, from different women perspective, what inspired them to be a woman. So that is our main event of the year that we did this year again.
Yeah, same
so
time.
we did like a small show outdoors, but with the same concept, and then we paint the big wall in Brixton, and we did the jam in Stockwell.
Right.
So I would have to say we had a gallery. We had an outdoor gallery at Brixton Village.
Yeah.
So that was so it was a 2-part. So we had the outdoor gallery where we had 30. So last year we had 20 artists. This year we had 30 artists
Nice,
produce
building it
work.
up.
Yeah.
Artwork.
And then for the opening on Brixton Gym, we did a great piece there. We did a nice collaboration with. So it was us, the 3 of us. That would be me, Elno, Lures, and then we had Layla, Vanjima, and DMT Art.
Okay.
And that was great because the wall size is nice, and we was able over the
good
2
area
days.
as well.
Yeah, and it's still there. So.
wow.
Often you don't get to paint something that you know that's going to be there for a while, so we know that it's at least protected.
Very true.
And it's next to the painting that I did of Ty as well, so
Okay.
it's that
Perfect.
nice long strip.
You're part of the collective, but individually, like your backgrounds, how did you get into the whole art scene, if you like, or the graffiti, street art? How and when and what motivated you to sort of come together, as it were, from an individual basis?
Well, I'm from Spain, so I come from a not too big city, a really conservative place north of Spain. So I always been really involved and attracted to art since really young age. And when I was probably in my teenagers age, I started to tag a little bit. And I was quite naughty in that times. But police in Spain, it's quite racist actually with people, and it's it used to be quite alternative. So we are the perfect target. And I get caught really young, so I got quite scared to paint on the street like a piece,
Yeah.
And so I used to paint like one-off sometimes, in legal walls. I was more maybe my years in Barcelona when I was in my middle 20s.
Okay.
And I used to I always draw, and do illustration and canvas. And my background is coming from fashion and costume for theater. But it was probably a moment of my life that was in a really quite dark, maybe probably moment of my life. Partying a lot and, having probably emotional problems with relationships, toxic relationships, and my therapy was to go out to abandoned places by myself.
Totally get that.
So I used to have 2 amazing spots in Barcelona. One was outside Barcelona. Actually, you don't need a car. You can go with a train, and it was like an abandoned greenhouse.
Yeah.
So it was amazing, surround all of this nature, and that was my therapy. So I kind of start from there to build, a bit more confident. And I probably was not maybe thinking to paint big walls. It was in that time more like my way to just disconnect, But then from there I start to be invited to do some exhibitions with another artist, and I knew people that was already involved in graffiti and street art. So I remember one wall that they invited me for a jam, one probably of my first jams in Barcelona, and I was the only woman.
Okay. What year are we talking here?
So we are talking probably 2011, 2012, So, and then I moved to London, and I arrived to London, and someone passed me the contact of Sterling.
All right, yeah.
And I meet him in Lake Street. I didn't even know how to say background in English. So I was like, blue, my body language was making me connect with him, and he told me that was going to be a female street art jam.
Okay. Was that a GOT jam?
There was a Femme Fierce.
Yeah.
Femme Fierce, we are talking 2014.
Right.
I mean, I remember I went there without knowing anyone, and I just get so surprised to see I think we were like maybe, 30, 40 women painting.
I mean, just to have that amount of ladies painting in one spot is like, it's a different thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We weren't used to that,
No.
I'm sure, in terms of.
And for me, probably as well, was for me something that since I started to paint in London the first years, the old people coming to see me painting. For me, it was like in Spain, the old people will be like, "What you doing? What you doing?" Yeah, I don't know. I coming from another background. Now the things are changing, but I was just fascinated. Like this person came here. He's 80 years old with his camera and taking pictures of us painting. So that was for me amazing to also see, and that just opened. I mean, London, opened the arms for me.
And what about you, Carleen? How did you enter into this wonderful world?
It's been quite a journey for me. I say it's been a 20-year journey of being on the outside and wanting to be, but not feeling confident enough to show my work to the outdoor public, not being in a room somewhere painting a picture.
Yeah.
So I did. My history is really, I started in 2020 customizing. So I'd be airbrushing T-shirts.
Okay.
I had a shop in Stratford, and I had a studio in Tottenham, and then I had the market stall in Portobello.
Busy.
Yeah. And then I'm going to skip some years now, and 2015. So 2014, I was in hospital for a long period of time. And when you're sick and you're facing like, will I survive? Will I not survive? It kind of really makes you look at your life. And I decided that, I want to be a street artist. I've always wanted to be a street artist. So it's time.
There you go.
It's time. So, when I was, started putting on a bit of weight again and was able to get out and, pull along a trolley, I went to Trellick Tower. I just needed to do this for me and also for my confidence, because I'd done Upfest a couple of times, but I weren't serious about it. Like the times that I'd gone to Upfest, it was a joke thing, really.
Right.
So in 2015, when I changed, when I decided that I'm gonna do what I love, what I really want to do, the money doesn't matter. So when you take money out of the equation, it changes everything.
Definitely.
Right. So then you can do something for fun.
Yeah.
And that's when you realise that the money will always come. And then I think 2015, I remember I was having dinner with a friend, and I was saying to her, look, I'm just going to do this now. I'm going to do this. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I need to get into Brick Lane.
Right.
I knew that I needed to get into Brick Lane, right? And a couple of days later, I went to a friend's birthday, and her husband just so happened to own a couple of buildings that were going to be demolished in Bethnal Green. And he was like, yeah, you can paint these buildings. Nice. So while I was in Bethnal Green painting, that's when I got to understand that there's a lot of photographers that circulate the area
Especially
there.
that area.
Yeah, so I was brand new to all of them at this point. None of them knew who I was as a street artist. So one by one, they was finding their way because it's on the outskirts. It was like Valence Road,
Okay.
which I think is where the craze.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Bethnal Green. So it was on Valence Road, and then a shop owner of Dark Sugars saw me painting, and they was like, "You can come and you can paint
Nice.
this," and that was on Hanbury Street.
Okay.
So that was great. It was a great opportunity because then I was in the heart of it, in
Yeah.
the heart of all of the tour guys, even though they was all ignoring me at first.
But you're there. You
Yeah, well, the tour guys were ignoring me, but of course the people that was on the tours, they
Yeah,
was
like,
like, "Who is that?" As they're walking past. So they would all come back. They would all come back after their tour and take pictures and have questions.
Perfect.
Yeah, so I was actually, while I was still practicing, I was getting jobs and stuff because what I realised is that I was a lot better than I thought I would be, basically because of my airbrushing.
Right. Yeah, I suppose that's going to have like a natural sort of
Yeah,
release.
it's that same thing of not touching the surface,
I think the way you did it is probably a good way to do it. If you've gone from that sort of airbrush up to like big size murals, whereas if you try and do it the other way, I've tried to dabble with airbrush and it just frustrates the hell out of me.
I get that a lot from people who use aerosol cans. So I think that
Going
going
the way
about
you
the
did
other
it
way,
is the right way. I think when you do it the other way, it's just like
you ain't got the patience for it, do you?
no way.
Yeah,
No way.
yeah.
And the preparation you've got to do as well.
Yeah.
So much more involved.
Oh, I love it. I love airbrushing.
But it's a good skill to have as well.
Yes,
Perfect.
it is, because then you're able to do what you do on a big wall. You're able to condense it, so then you don't have to worry about detail because it's like you got the airbrush. You can get as fine as you want to with that and still have that soft effect.
So do you still sort of dabble with it from time to time?
Yeah.
Still
I
doing
do
it?
all of my canvases
Okay.
with, and then some jobs that I do, if there's like smaller parts and stuff that I want that detail, then I bring my compressor and airbrush along.
Have you used it in a street environment as well?
No,
yet,
I
or is
haven't.
this-
Only in like jobs inside. Then I'll bring that in, but I'm gonna find a way to do that.
In terms of graffiti, there's always been this kind of like, the whole freestyle and using tools kind of argument, because I know a lot of people do that, and it might be that a lot of people that are starting out perhaps use that. But I think it's nice to try and get your can control organised, so at least you know that you don't have to rely on it. Do you know what I mean? It's like you can still do what you do without it. But if you're using it to enhance your artwork, I don't have a problem with it, especially with canvases and stuff. It's hard enough to get decent detail on a canvas.
I'm not gonna lie. I really like to do freehand. It makes me feel authentic, I guess, that I can do it all freehand without using rulers or cardboard.
But that's
or
what I mean. That kind
That's
of
a
like
preference, isn't
and
it?
it sort of sets you apart in a sense, in as much as anyone could probably, if they wanted to, could do it like that, but not everyone can do it freehand. So when you learn those skills, it only adds to your arsenal, if you like,
Yeah.
But like you say, if you're not relying on it, then you're doing the right thing,
But I don't know what is the right thing from what is the wrong thing. I think when it comes to art, it's however you want to produce it, however because somebody could go freehand and do a great job freehand, and then somebody could be standing next to them, both using the same reference, and they're using card, cut out, and they're doing, and theirs looks better.
The graffiti scene, I'm well aware, is a very male kind of orientated scene and can be a little bit unwelcoming, let's say, sometimes to females or perhaps to up and coming artists, regardless of their gender. But did you experience any sort of issues, along your journey?
I remember like I used to leave myself be really passive, maybe I was going to paint with my partner in that time when I was 20.
Is this in Spain?
In Spain, my 24s, 23, and he wanted to paint this in this way, and I wanted to do my sketch because I prepared my sketch, but he wanted to do this way, and okay, let's do it this way. So I won't put, for example, like I don't like to put this is the fault of them, but because we have a responsibility as well of like how we are more assertive. So I think part of create also WOM Collective for me was in that first jam, I saw some of the girls how I used to be maybe years before about my confidence, and then in a moment that a man get involved to give a feedback, maybe it's it's too strict when, you know, and you are cutting like the enjoyment of that person in that moment, you know.
You're not letting them express themselves.
Yeah,
I guess.
so I think, don't get me wrong, I learn a lot from my male, you know, graffiti and street art friends, and they teach me so many things, and they always open, like, you know, the doors for me. But it's true that as a woman, you still listen. Sometimes you are painting and, oh, it's a woman, it's a girl, girls paint as well.
Yeah.
You know, you still listen that type of comments. Or if it's different if I'm painting alone or with my female friend than if I'm painting with a male friend. Some people that interact with you on the street.
Yeah.
I don't want to play the victim anymore, and I don't think that we should play victims. You know, we should be assertive and stop the things when have to be stopped. You know what I mean? And you have to, you know, cut someone off and be rude. But it's the thing, sometimes you are rude and they are like, oh, you are rude. You are just saying, like, I'm just saying you, like, leave me alone, you know, and I don't want to engage with you. And that for me, I'm not like, now I'm a stupid and a friendly person, you know, because I don't want, I see your intentions, man, you know. So that's still happening.
Yeah, it does, because like when you first started talking, I was thinking, no, I can't really think I've experienced any of that stuff. But then, actually, every time I go out and paint, I guess I do to a degree. I mean, there was this one occasion where I was the only woman that was painting. No other guys were painting. It was just me painting. But there was a lot of guys around, like, you know, taking pictures.
Where was this, Leek Street or somewhere
No,
like that?
this was when I was doing the hip hop wall in Dalston.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm up on a ladder and this guy's walked around the corner and he's like, well done, guys. So like I've looked down and I'm like, hello. And I said, oh, thank you. So he's looked and he's like, oh, you're
It's
a
a
woman.
girl.
And then he's looked at the other guys and I said, yeah, clearly I'm the only one who's actually painting right now, isn't I? But this happens a lot.
Even now.
Even now, like you'll surprise somebody, or like if you're outside painting, you've got your hood up and stuff, then the assumption is that you're a guy behind there. It's not until they hear your voice that they're like, then it always shocks them that you're a woman, which is still bizarre to me.
It's crazy. You'd think things have moved on a bit, you know.
No, but they haven't. It's perception though, isn't it? So in some people's mind, when they think of a spray can, they think of the illegal aspect of it. So even with old people, they're the funniest. I love them. When they stop, they really hate writers. They hate tagging. They hate it with a passion.
I can understand it.
It's vandalism to them. So sometimes they'll see you with a can in your hand, and that's their first assumption, and yet they'll be grumbling as they're walking past, and then they'll step back and take a look at what you've done, and then they'll be like, oh. And they'll come back for a conversation and say, I love this stuff, but I hate that other stuff. I hate that vandalism.
I don't think it's as apparent now, but that rift between sort of street art and writing that's where it kind of started to...
Do you think it's a financial thing?
There is that. I mean, and I know that speaking, you know, from where I am, I suppose I sit more in the writer's camp as opposed to the street art camp, but... It's like, but I haven't got anything against the street art camp. I might have done previously, but I've matured now, I think. Don't know. Just don't look at my back catalogue. So, but what I mean is, it's like, you know, it's easier to appreciate a piece of artwork, which is, let's say, maybe a portrait or like a scenery or something, than it is, because you can understand it.
It's more relatable.
You don't have to know what it is. You can just straight away, oh, look, that's...
Nice.
Whereas if you're looking at like somebody's name or tag, it's hard to kind of see the artistic content of it unless you're involved in it. Do you know what I mean? It might be an amazing piece, but it's just a load of letters, and what does that mean, you know?
For me, like, the graffiti culture is so... It inspires me to paint in the street.
The events that you've done, the other various events that have happened, it's just a good way of bringing people who perhaps wouldn't normally work together, or even perhaps wouldn't even communicate with each other. You know, which is it's building those bridges.
With workshops, because it's like, you know, kids just love it, and if we can, I think it's something really like, you know, physical, and you put a lot of energy, and more after this year, then, you know, everyone has been struggling, but I can't imagine to be a kid, you know, being locked in your house with a computer, have to do everything in your computer. So it's an amazing way to express, you know,
and get out the house.
And get out of the house, you know, and probably you're gonna arrive like more tired and with more excitement. And we love work with kids.
It's the best, man. Do you do workshops?
Yeah. No, totally. I mean, that's like, you know, the job I do now. I work in without getting into my history and that, but I work in basically like a behaviour unit, school types. And that came from doing workshops,
Yes.
like one-off sessions.
We just did a workshop at Crystal Palace.
Okay.
And like just the joy from these
See it,
kids of
yeah.
achieving this big piece in, you know, this amount of time, or even adults, because we don't just do workshops for children,
Okay.
we do workshops for whoever's interested.
Do you know the problem I have with it? I find I struggle trying to like not get over involved. Do you know what I mean? Because I can, especially when they're like that, when you know they're struggling, it's kind of like you're like, oh, I can fix that for you, but it's like you got to stop yourself
it's
from
their
doing
journey.
it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you
You're
have to
taken
do
away
it.
from it.
And they get there.
Yeah.
They get there because
Yeah.
it's like, you know, 2 to 3 hours of, you know, doing, sometimes they're weekly long workshops. But as you see them progressing, and just, you know, you just give them the freedom to you create what you want to create.
Yeah.
But these are the techniques that I've given you. And then when you know, they're posing in front of their piece and they're showing it off to their parents and their little sister, or
It's
you
just
know,
so
just-
beautiful.
it's really, it's so cool, man. It's such a I think it's like, you know, all of my sins in my life, yeah. It's all of these workshops that I'm doing. It's, you know,
No, but I
I'm
get
getting
that.
right.
I
I'm
get
getting
that.
right.
And like you said yourself, Elno, it's like we're coming out of a difficult period when we've been locked up and like, you know, we ain't been able to go out and express ourselves. So to have, you know, yourselves and the other people out there doing it as well, just being able to give up your time to like show these young people a new activity, which is actually going to keep them away from a computer.
Because look at like, the jam that we did in April in Stotwell. We kind of partnership as well, like with Epping Jam. Then they also a lot of workshops, but more focused with breakdancing,
Okay.
hip hop.
it was somebody else we collaborated. Was it hip hop?
They're hip hop opera. Then they were with Epping Jam. So hip hop opera.
No,
Hip opera.
It was no. They did the thing. Yes, that was it's hip hop federation.
Federation.
Just in case anybody out there doesn't really know, you know, this type. How would you define your style or your approach to painting?
Yeah.
What do you paint?
Characters. I mean, I'm really into nature, so my characters are mostly female or quite child representation. And I always try to paint them with green colors. So I don't want to, you know, I have this, imaginary characters that is, you know, involve everyone. It's no color. You know? So I'm really into nature and that connection with female power. You know, I guess that is going as well. Depends of my mind of my life. You know, but I'm now really more aware of what I'm painting and what I want to express and what type of conversation I want to open through. So I'm trying to paint things that bring more positivity or like awareness. You know, in some things that I'm interested into. So yeah.
So in one word, how would you describe your? Let's put you to the
difficult.
challenge.
All right. Well,
No,
so
your turn's
bad.
coming.
yeah, no, I'm thinking.
She's thinking. She's got the
I've got
jump
time
on
to
you.
think. I've got time to think. One word.
Or perhaps we should go
Sure.
to Carleen and come back to you, and that way you got time to think.
I
Yeah,
mean,
let's
I
be
will
nice.
like-
Let's be nice. Let's get Carleen to explain her.
Venga.
You
Okay, so
define
you
your
think-
style, and then we'll
okay.
bounce it that way.
So how would I define my style? I don't feel like I just have one style. So some people would know my artwork from the golden yellowy characters that I do. But I think it definitely sits in the category of black art. And I think, you know, for me, when it came to like, I was never into going to galleries or even, I never even had a favourite artist. I just liked what I liked, you know. But with black art, a lot of it didn't really relate to me because it was older.
Right.
It was older, so I was always very hip hop.
Right.
You know, so I would lean towards the hip hop side of, you know, creating my artwork. So I used to buy a lot of magazines, like your Word Up and your Source and all of those magazines back in the day. So that's where I would get a lot of my inspiration from. So now when I take it onto the wall, Elno knows I don't really prepare sketches or anything. I just turn up.
But that's good, you know, having the ability to do that.
I mean, it's good in a sense, but it's not always good.
Yeah, it can suppress your sort of creativity, I suppose.
Well, what happens is that a lot of the times I'm off chatting and then I realise I've got like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And I've probably only
think
drawn
I've
an eye
witnessed
and yeah, but I knock it out though.
yeah, it's true.
I paint quick, but that doesn't mean
Then
it's the
that's
best
what
piece
makes
that I can do, you know?
Yeah.
So, sometimes I like to just hit a wall and just see what colours I have and feel the vibe and then just paint from there. But it will always most likely be characters because, you know, that's what I like to draw. So Do I have to think of the one word?
No,
now?
we'll come back to that. I'm going to give you a
back.
little bit extra time because you
Okay.
mentioned earlier you did the Thai memorial.
Yes, I
So
did.
how did that sort of come about? Was that just something you decided, or was it you were approached?
Yeah, I was asked. I was asked because I've met you before at the bridge.
That's right.
Yeah.
Croydon.
So yeah, but before that, I was painting. I've been painting at the bridge every year since I think 2015. Mm-hmm. So Ty would be the compere for that.
That's right, yeah.
That day as well.
He was that day, wasn't he? Was he that day? Yeah.
Well, no, he was all the he was all the
was,
time.
I think, yeah.
Yeah,
When we were
definitely
there.
in Croydon. And that day, do you remember I did that piece and I actually had Ty in it, but because I took some reference pictures from them, but I
Yeah,
told
yeah,
them,
yeah.
I said to them, listen,
That's the
it's
one
not
I
really
painted
gonna...
on the back of you, didn't
Yeah, exactly. To see your legs in some of my photographs.
Fame.
Always in the shorts. Always in the shorts. Yeah. But so I painted it, but it was on the cling film. It was on the wrap. But I didn't. I told them. I said, look, this isn't exactly you. I'm just using you as a reference. But it kind of looked like him still. But I heard that when I had left, they tried to take it, but you can't take that. It just crumbles
around,
off.
is it?
So that was the year before. That was the year before. So when he passed, and I heard that he passed, I wanted to go out and paint something, but I knew that I didn't have a permanent wall. So it's not something that I could go to Brick Lane and do. So I never.
Yeah.
And then someone reached out to me and asked me, and I said, yeah, I was thinking of it, but I don't have a wall. So she went away, spoke to some other people, got back to me, and eventually, anyway, it ended up being that the street gym, Brixton Street Gym, would be the perfect location. Have a conversation
Is that
with
the one
Boyd.
Solo One's done?
Yeah, so like I had a conversation with Boyd or Cindy did. I can't remember who actually touched base with him, but it was a go. So last year I did that, and then this year on the 7th I basically updated it.
Cool.
Yeah. Because that building's not going to be there forever.
No.
They're not going to have that.
Yeah,
They're going to be knocking it down. You know, it's going in London, everything's getting knocked down. So I think that, if it's still there next year, then I will go and update it again. Yeah, or remix it. We call it a remix, don't we? That wall's been remixed. Yeah.
Rewind.
But it's it was nice vibes because Brixton is where he comes from.
Yeah.
A lot of people knew him
better
there.
spot,
Yeah.
And the fact that
And
it's
his
in-
mum visits the wall
really?
very often as well.
And the whole street gym thing is kind of like, the
very
way those
community.
guys have set themselves up is very, it's
Brilliant.
what we do, isn't it? It's from the street.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
And community and really doing
all
beautiful
hip-hop.
work. So in two words,
You
style.
said,
Are we
you
going
add
for
another
2
word.
words now?
She just added another word.
You can have 2 if you want. So define in as fewer
If I
words
have
as
to
you
do it
So
can.
innocently as well, wasn't it? I believed her for a
Because
minute.
it could be aggressive, it could be passive, it could be whatever.
I will say avatar.
Avatar.
Ah, that's a good one.
That's
Yeah.
a good one, yeah.
That's
Because
a,
And it fits because I'm aware of that from the paintings I've seen. It kind of works, yeah. So now it's over to you in the hot seat.
So one word to describe my artwork.
Without being like offensive or swearing. Or
Ah, that's this is it's getting smaller and
I
smaller.
have one.
Go
for
on,
you.
go on.
The key.
The key. That's 2 words, babe.
Bueno,
She's
doesn't
Spanish,
count,
she's allowed.
yeah?
That's
Key.
she's allowed.
It's a title. The key.
Golden key.
It's key. Yeah.
I mean,
Key.
because
I like
your is
Golden.
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 Don't know.
No,
Yeah,
no,
maybe.
golden.
Golden. There you go. There you have it. Golden and,
Golden and
the other one, Avatar.
Thank you, Kilo.
That's it.
Golden. I was
Now-
actually trying to think of what other people call it, but I couldn't. I was
Golden. It works because
Golden.
you've got
no,
the
you're
hair.
absolutely
Everything.
right. And
fits.
people call me Goldie.
Keep wearing
as
the hoop
well.
earrings and it's on.
I'm on brand, ain't I?
There you go.
I'm
It's a
totally
new
on
thing.
brand.
We're sort of fastly approaching the end of things. So obviously, I know there's a lot of things we haven't probably talked about, but perhaps you could give us any future projects or things where you want to take the WOM Collective, anywhere, directions you want to take it.
We will have our next jam on August.
Okay.
That will be our 2nd anniversary jam, really chill. So we will invite other women, female artists to come and join for that day and celebrate 2 years of the collective.
Do you have a
and
venue for that? Like you're looking
No,
at?
we're just
Not
going
yet.
to Brick
the
Lane.
street.
Okay,
probably.
all right.
Yeah.
We will go. We'll be probably Brick Lane because
Yeah.
that is where it started. So
Makes sense.
we will keep it there, and we are preparing something really excited for October. But at the moment,
Mum's the
keep
word.
it-
That's
yeah,
fine.
but will
Something
be
to look
a really
forward to.
experimental show that we're trying to put together, and so we can say more things really soon.
Yeah, it's cool.
Try to bring reality and virtual world together. So
Okay. Something to think about.
Yeah.
we'll give it a bit.
That's I
And
mean,
workshops, we have a lot of workshops planning. We're
We've got
working
workshops non-stop.
Stotwell now.
Do you do like, I noticed, do you do like pop-up, did you do one at Alexander Palace I
Yep.
saw? Was that just like, did you just promote that, or was that like a just...
No,
come and
I
have a
was
go
I
sort
was
of
doing
thing?
workshops with Alexandra Palace.
Oh, okay. Wicked.
Yeah, and that was basically because I got painting on the wall.
Was that at the skate park, or did they have like another...
No, I mean,
There's like that wall, isn't there, you can paint? Which is
no.
kinda
So
like...
what we did, no, it's got nothing to do with that.
right, okay.
So they've literally like made up areas where the kids. I mean, you can go there now, and the kids'
Wicked.
artwork is still there. So there's a bridge at one side in the old deer enclosure, and then there's a piece that's actually on the building
Okay,
of
nice.
of Alexandra Palace. But I mean, our workshops, we all do them individually. So now we're coming together and doing them together. So that's like the one with Crystal Palace, and we're going to be doing we're going to be doing quite a few
So
at
this
Stockwell.
is what Carleen said. So we bring in a lot between Carleen, Lourdes and I, and mainly we bring a lot of our personal projects. You know, we are putting now
We haven't
into
mentioned Rocky.
And Rocky.
Sorry to cut you.
No?
So there's 4 founders.
Okay.
It's not just the 3 of us.
Yeah, we
So-
need to know the founders. For sure.
Yeah, so the founders would be Elno, Lourdes, Rocky, who is back in America,
Okay.
and myself. So, 3 Spanish chicks who are just about 5 foot, and me.
So she's Spanish as well, in America?
Yeah, she's Mexican Spanish.
Okay.
So there's 4 of us, but 3 of us active,
Okay.
Yeah.
really, because she's doing her photography and stuff. She's a photographer.
Rocky is a photographer.
But she's so smart and great, and did a great job in building.
The beginning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in
She's
building.
integral to the whole...
But she'll be back here for one day next week, and I'm not even going to be around.
Gonna miss that one.
Sorry, you were saying, sorry. So I had
So
to...
no, what I was saying that basically a lot of our personal projects that we are now reaching, we are bringing also the opportunities for the collective, obviously, because the collective now is growing more. So, now the workshop of Crystal Palace, I can bring some of the girls from the collective, and the same than Carleen, some of their projects now, is bringing more people. So slowly we are also bringing more opportunities, and then if people also approach to us, we have amazing network created with the girls of being involved in different projects with the collective. So that is something that I think it's been really supportive as well through the last year, because in that chat, they've been sharing from, self-employment benefits to job opportunities to advice of someone have a commission and doesn't know what to use. So I think that network, that is created, we would like to make it more solid as well, but it's been a beautiful inspiration that come quite naturally, just
It's like a learning curve as well, I suppose.
Yeah, because we don't know exactly, like, we're a collective, but it's like we're having to make moves, like business moves now.
Yeah.
So, like, for example, we have jobs. We have jobs.
Really?
Yeah, we
What,
do.
you mean you don't survive off your art alone?
No, I mean, our art is our job. We don't have other jobs. We're those kind of artists.
I'm stunned.
Yeah, I ain't had a job since 1997. An actual, boss and stuff. But so we have jobs that come our way, and sometimes you'll have a big enough job that you need to have people
Bring
come
in
in.
others, yeah.
So we use each
You've got a
other.
pool
We use
of people.
yeah, because we're still building WOM. So with certain jobs, it brings in other jobs, which opens up the door for other women to come and
I think that's important as well, because the culture tends to be that a lot of people keep it for themselves when they can't even do the artwork. Let's say, like, for example, if I know I've got to do, if I've got a photorealistic commission, I'm not going to do a photorealistic commission because it's not me. I'll pass it to someone I know, Nasha, or maybe someone who I know can handle it.
It's to put a bit the ego down. I mean, it's to have a positive ego and take the negative ego down and have a healthy competition, So because I believe in that, when you give, you receive in this life, And as you say,
karma,
someone
isn't it?
can tell me as well, do that realism. I know that, I could do it, but it's not really my thing. and I know someone that can do better than me and
Yeah.
quicker, you know.
Well, I know you've got a couple of girls in the collective that
Yeah.
can smash
We've got a
that
number of
quite properly.
them. So that's what's good about having this collective, that we're not trying to make anybody lose their identity, because we're all still individual artists. So we have a couple of girls on top members as a part of the collective. Like,
Cool.
we've got Akit. She's involved, but she's also DDS. And, you know, so, people have their own identities, but it's just a collective where you don't lose. So that's why we're saying, everyone come and join us. Like, if you're a woman, am I looking in the right camera? If you are a woman and you have a desire to paint on these streets, we don't care if you've never done it before. Just come to one of our jams. Somebody will help you. You will get better. Trust me, you will get better and better and better. And maybe even one day you'll quit your job that you hate, because now you're in a space, you've created this space where artwork is coming to you. And you're like, I got to work my 9 to 5. No, you don't. You can quit your 9 to 5, and you can do what you want, which is painting pictures. There's money to be made if you want to make it.
Regardless of your age.
Regardless of your age. I'm 72 years old.
It looks good though, isn't it, for
I
our
look
age?
amazing.
What do you
for
use?
72.
Is it like coconut oil?
I don't use
what is
nothing, mate. I use water.
No makeup.
No makeup, no nothing. Not even
She's raw.
moisturiser.
No Botox.
This is 100% pure, I was born the age of 104, and now
you were Gressing, I
I'm
forgot.
Benjamin Button, mate.
Oh, I forgot.
But anyway, so I'm just saying, as if it's a desire that you have to be a street artist,
Don't be scared.
Don't be scared. Come and join us. You ain't even got to stay with us. You could just come to our jams.
I want to just come in on that point, because something that we wanted to sort of find out about. Do you feel that men are threatened by the presence of an organised group of female artists?
So, like, in my experience, I find that sometimes I do intimidate men because I'm just that great, but that's not my fault. I wasn't raised this way. I turned into this, just so that you know. It just happened one day. I just woke up one day.
Well,
and
as you get younger, you'll probably chill a bit, won't you?
Well, I mean, like I said, I've got to disappear and start a new identity. But but no, I have found that, like, so sometimes you don't even realise. But like I said, I don't even sketch. Mostly I don't sketch. I will just turn up and I will knock it out of the park, and I can do it in a very short amount of time. Now, for some people, they want longer time. They want sketches, and that's fine. But it does intimidate some people when they're looking, and like, I've been chatting, having a laugh, I've disappeared for an hour and I've come back and I'm just like, shh, done, all right, I'm off, I've gone home. Which in my mind, it's all fun and games. But for some other people, it's like, for some people, we all have different ideas around our art. Now, for me, it's never serious. But for some people, it's very serious.
Yeah.
Because it's out in the public and they don't want to embarrass myself. But I don't have much shame. So for me, I don't really feel that. So I can do something and I know that it's not great. And I'm like, yeah, I'm good.
Well, you're satisfied. I mean,
satisfied.
I think Elno mentioned it earlier. The whole thing is you need to enjoy it.
Yes.
If you're not enjoying it, then what's the point? Regardless of how you're applying it, regardless of what you're doing, if there's no enjoyment involved.
Exactly. And you can see sometimes, people doing great pieces and they are not happy. They come back home so angry. And I'm like, dude, look what you just did. And
But
we always can get better, we always want to keep improving and improving a technique, but you have to also, enjoy the process and don't be too tough with yourself, because then, what is the point to do it? You are, instead to have fun, you are putting yourself in a stress situation.
And there's enough of that already.
Yeah. And back to the question that you did before.
What was the question?
Like, if you feel like it's maybe men feel a threat.
Oh, yeah, okay.
About I guess then some, yes. I mean, I got few questions like, maybe the people thought like, you are exclusive men because you don't involve men in your collective. And it's like, okay, wait a minute. I mean, I am a feminist, but I'm not a radical feminist, and I don't believe in a world that have to be just created by women. Absolutely not, but let's don't be blind, and woman is being in a position for a lot of years, really
in the shadow.
In the shadow, and still a lot of countries are still like that, and and we keep on it. And even in the country that we live, it's still a lot of like women of how it's seen sexually, all of it's still happening today. So I guess then some people think like we want to do this because we hate men, and that is not the point, So we just want to. I think it's in a space that is needed of some woman to get that confidence back, and also create between us a healthy womanhood.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about men. Sometimes women are the toughest one with their own sisters. So we want to change that, you know, and don't compare yourself because that woman is better or more pretty or no.
Let's say a young girl who's still at school and she wants to get involved, you know, like obviously you're out there.
Yeah.
What could you say to her to make her feel more comfortable or you know, encourage her?
I think you know what, not even just for art, like just life in general.
In fact, let's not limit it to a female, just a young person.
Yeah,
'cause
yeah. So I think that, you know, the hardest thing for young people is finding their own voice. And, you know, as adults, we don't realise how empowering and demanding and, you know, that we are. So for kids, for young people who want to be artists, just keep on drawing, just keep on practicing, just keep on, you know, try everything that interests you. Experiment. If you're online a lot and you see things, give it a go, try it out, because, you know, you've got a long time to figure it out. I didn't figure it out until I was in my late 30s, you know, so unfortunately for the kids now, they have social media, which is a good thing and it's a bad thing. We were fortunate not to have that.
Amen.
So it gave us a wider scope. Yeah. So these kids they're very insecure because they might look at somebody's page who knows how to fake it better than they do, and they want that life because it looks great to them compared to and it's too much. So it's like, you know, it's these kids are depressed now. We've got suicidal like kids that are just they don't think they're pretty enough, they don't think they're good enough, but they always are. They just don't know it. They just haven't tapped into that space of believing in themselves yet because they're too busy looking over there at what looks appealing, you know. Now it's hard to snatch their phones away from them, and you know it's impossible.
Have you ever tried to do that? Because it is very hard.
Well, don't they break down? Don't they?
They proper break down.
It's a meltdown.
It's an addiction.
It is an addiction, and you can see how easily that can happen. But for kids, I would say just like
be yourself.
Be yourself. Yeah.
I will say, make a mistake, a happy mistake. This is something that a kid told me this week, you know.
Yeah.
Happy mistake, because don't be too tough and don't be scared to express yourself and to experiment, because, you know, it's a playfulness in that process, you know, and slowly you will find your unique way of expression, and it's not better and worse than another. So switch off and, you know, play music or create an environment where you feel inspired. If it's by your own or if you need to be out with people to do it, you know, I think that is important, you know.
Yeah.
Don't be stuck in that individualism, you know, box, because, you know, you have to get out to get inspiration, you know. So come to some of our workshops.
There you are.
Yeah, so we try and make our workshops, when it comes to kids, they're free. So somebody else is funding that. But come to our workshops or join. So what we're noticing is that there are other women collectives that are growing, and that's a great thing. Yeah. So we're encouraging other people to you know, create something and build.
Yeah, well, why not? Why not?
And even a woman, I just say, you know, because some men that come to me and it's like, what you're doing is amazing, and it's like, man, you can do it. You know, you just maybe it's too much for one person, but if you just like connect with 2-3 of you, and you engage, you building,
strength in numbers.
Let's do it.
Strength in numbers, definitely.
Anyway.
I'm with
No, it's true though, because if it was just down to me, there would be no one.
Yeah. Well, you need people to. The more people you got, well, not the more, but if you got the right people involved, you're going to vibe off each other.
Yeah.
And there's something probably that WOM have. Like we have a solid founder base.
Yes.
And then we have obviously an amazing range of women that want to be part of it.
Yeah.
But like between Carleen, Lourdes and I, we have a really good balance. We put our egos out, and you know, we learn from each other, and we work really teamwork. So it's,
we call ourselves the dream team.
There you go.
It's a bit crass, isn't it? But it's true.
I like that. You've got to have a dream team.
Yeah.
You know.
It's a dream.
Right, so we're pretty much at the end. Obviously, we'll put up some all your links in respective social media. We'll have that in the description. So if anybody wants to reach out to the ladies and wants to get involved, find out about their projects they've got coming, do please make sure you subscribe to the channel 521. Make sure you hit the little bell in the top so you get all your notifications. And I'd just like to say thank you very much for coming on board and
thank you for having us.
Thank you, Kira.
More than welcome. Who knows? Perhaps we could get like a little female thing involved here, encourage more ladies into the culture, you know.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
You're doing as well all of this, you know. Thank you so much to have us.